Okay. Yeah, so it all starts by going back to when we get born, and when we come into this world, um, probably you know, or maybe you don't, we come into this world not really understanding that we are separate from the other people around us. We don't feel we are separate from our mother. We feel like we are one unit with our environment, mother, father, brothers, sisters, but mostly with, or especially with our mother. And we come from a place of harmony inside of our mother's body. We just get everything we need without even asking for it. So we come into this world expecting the same care from our environment. And also feeling that we are one with our mother, with our parents in general, we want them to create that harmony for us. We want them to provide care and love. That is for us, how to say, we are coming from a nice place inside of our mama's body, and then we don't want it to be bumpy. You know, when we come into the world, we don't want it to be like this. We want it to be nice and warm. And so then we need it, especially in the first month of our life, we need care. That's a big one. We need to be fed. We need to have good sleep. We need to be dry, kept dry. But also we need love. And for us, love in that period is like, to be welcome in the family, to be looked at with loving eyes, to be held with a lot of sensitivity and presence. We want to be seen, when you see a child when he's playing, he wants to be looked at. We want so much to be seen and also to be heard especially when we are in trouble and we need mama or dada to be there for us. And so we have this need for love and care, which sometimes are not fulfilled. It just happens. It's life, because our parents, they are not perfect. And sometimes they don't understand that we have these needs. Sometimes they are not capable of fulfilling these needs all the time. And sometimes it's really terrible, like the parents are not there because of divorce or because one of them or both of them, they are caught in depression or addiction. And that's like a chronic neglect that can happen. And then we don't have love at all. But apart from that, which is quite severe and it doesn't happen so often, most of us, we are more confronted with situations where our parents are there sometimes, but not there other times. That's more often. And this can happen because parents are at work for long, and then they come home and they are too tired to be with us. Or they are having troubles with each other. They are preoccupied with their relationship. Or it can be because, let's say the mother, who is the main caretaker, she has a history of being neglected herself, or trauma. So then she comes into motherhood actually wanting love, not having enough to give, and that happens for many of us actually. And it can also be that, you know, my mother, for example, she came into motherhood at a very young age. She didn't know anything about life, or not anything, but not much about life. And she was scared. So she was kind of affected of this anxiety all the time. So although she was there for me, I remember her, she was constantly there. It was not possible for her to be in her body and to hold me with this presence that we need, because she was all the time trembling. So there are different ways in which we don't get, or sometimes we get, sometimes we don't. That's the thing. It's like the constancy is not there. And this is how we grow up feeling this hunger for love, this hunger for connection, and at the same time, this fear that connection can disappear at any moment. And so we are vigilant, we are all the time on alert, we are looking around. Is it gonna go away now? Is it gonna go away now? Is it gonna go away now? And if it is, I need to do something right now. So there is this hunger for connection, fear that I'm gonna lose it, and vigilance. And I need to do something. So that's the wound of abandonment, it's called, or the love wound. It's around the love needs, basically. And then we grow up and we start dating or we go into relationships. And what happens is we carry this with us. We carry this hunger and we carry this fear of losing the connection. And this need for constancy of connection, and how to secure the connection no matter what. So we come to the present moment. Yeah, we are adults, and this wound shows up in different ways in different people. So it's also good to look at these different ways, because we might not figure it out. I am actually coming to a relationship from this space. One thing which can happen is we feel attracted by people who are unavailable. We just find ourselves pulled, whether the person is, you know, far away, lives far away, or is married, or just emotionally unavailable, like closed man, and we say to ourselves, "Oh, look at him, he's such a mysterious guy." Actually, he's closed. But it's, I mean, yeah, we say these things to ourselves because it looks appealing to us, because it's familiar. It's what we are used to. Another way it can show up is that we are so hung up on the need to secure the connection that we cannot tolerate the uncertainty in the dating. You know, the dating is so much about, it happens in steps. Sure, we can feel strongly attracted to someone. We can even feel passionate love to someone. But the road to a relationship is a long one. You know, in the beginning, we start to like each other and we start spending a bit more. We want to know each other more. So we start spending a bit more time together. And then at some point, we feel like we want to be physically intimate, and then we want to move in together. But these are steps. And for someone with the abandonment wound, which, by the way, I have to say now, this is the time to say, this is me. So in the 3 wounds I'm gonna share about, this is me. Yeah, so to secure the connection, we immediately feel like in a relationship, you know, especially if we had sex. And sometimes we hurry sex just to make sure that we seal the deal. It's unconscious. We don't do it intentionally, but it's just. I once saw this movie where a woman said she was making fun of herself, and she said, "I always carry my wedding dress in the car trunk." And I was like, that's me. If I like a guy and we go and we have sex, and that is like, when are we getting married? And it's simply because to us it feels like, well, you're here, now we need to do it, because we cannot tolerate the uncertainty of it might happen, it might not happen. It's too painful for us. It really opens that gap that we were in when we were children, when the mother turned away. And another way is when the other person, woman or man, takes a bit of distance, says, we cannot meet today because I have work. At that point, we panic and we chase. We don't let it, it's not easy for us to let it be. It's like, oh, he didn't call, and he usually calls by now. Then I start texting, I start calling. I used to really to stalk social media. I have a friend who is like me, and she told me she's watching WhatsApp, these guys in her life, these guys WhatsApp, and I don't know what else. She checks when he's active and when he's not, so she can figure out what is happening with him and whether that is he really in the relationship or not. And for me, it's touching because this is also, I recognize myself when I'm taken over by this abandonment, where I can be like that. I mean, I don't know if I can still be, but for sure, I did that. And you see, when we put this is like pressure for the other person. It's like when we start speaking about us before we are an us, or when we start putting pressure, he just took a distance and we are like immediately following, and he takes a bit more distance and then we follow more, and then we really push him or her out of the connection. It feels really like pressure on the other side. So we sabotage ourselves without knowing, very innocently. But yeah, it has this effect. Another way, so another way this shows up is that we compromise. So what do we do? Again, I can give my example. This guy, I was in such a situation. He would say, I need to smoke, I need to go out, do you want to join me? And I would say, yeah, I can join you, and I would go just to be with him, but it was freezing cold outside, and I compromised there, or I canceled dates with girlfriends, or even jeopardized work deadlines just to be there when he was available. So we have a tendency, or we dress in a way that we know would be attractive to him, even though it's not us, and so on. So we compromise. And one last thing, which it perplexed me. When I found out about it, I couldn't believe it. This is that as much as we say we want connection, as much as we are looking for deep love, whenever we receive a little bit more than breadcrumbs, which is our normal, we get scared. And actually, we move away. You know, I remember I was in a cinema with a guy I really liked. This is in my teenage years. And I remember I was dreaming about the moment he would touch my hand. It was like, oh, I would just melt if he touches my hand. And we were there in the cinema, we're watching a movie, and he put his hand on my hand. And in 5 seconds, I was uncomfortable. In 5 seconds, I wanted to pull away. I didn't, and I stayed there for a little while, but then I was the one who pulled away. But it was unbearable. We are so not used to having the love and the connection that we want that when it comes more affluently, then it scares us, or we pull away, or we create a conflict. That's also something like, or we see something bad in us. It's a bit like, let's spoil the moment. It cannot be this nice. It cannot be this beautiful. Let's find a way to ruin it. So yeah, these are the ways that I saw. I mean, I also read about these things, but I experienced them firsthand so many times. It's so easy now to talk about them. And yeah, that's the abandonment wound in dating. It looks different in relationships. So that's another webinar. But for dating, this is how it looks. So one exercise which somebody suggested, and it touched me, is to is actually connected to the fact that we cannot imagine that we can be loved so profoundly. We cannot imagine because we didn't have this experience. So this is a visualization. So we close our eyes and then we picture that the people around us send love to us, people that we know. And they smile at us. The smile is important. So they smile at us. And we see them almost like in a circle around us. And they are friends. They're maybe parents or former lovers. I don't know. And then we extend the circle and we imagine also people who don't know us smile at us. And then the whole world is smiling at us. And we are just standing there and we are taking this in. And then we can go even further and imagine that the whole nature is smiling at us. The whole universe is smiling at us. And so that we feel it's okay. But slowly, slowly, in our pace. So that's one thing which for me was very helpful. And it's also really being aware, like in the moment it happens, that I don't trust the thoughts that I have in that moment. That, oh, he's needy, or oh, I'm not deserving. No, just no. It's the fear which comes from the abandonment. It's the fear of having too much. And let me just wait for a little bit. Let me just wait, because maybe then slowly, slowly that can come in. So just to be patient with us. Yeah, so it's just not to believe, because in that moment we run this story like he's wrong, or I am wrong, or he's too much, or I am too much, or no, it's let's wait a little bit here. Maybe it's that I'm really closing my heart. So also meditations that are with opening the heart help. So yeah, that's what I can say. So what do we do? Because for me, it was never like, oh, I look at my childhood so that I have somebody to blame for this where I am. It's more, yes, to know the story for sure. And I invite my clients on a journey down memory lane and to see, to look a bit more objectively of how our childhoods were, and to see where abandonment happened. Not that our parents didn't love us, but just that they couldn't be there for us all the time the way we wanted. So that's important. But then it's all about the present for me. It's really with the abandonment wound, it can be at some point after too many not great experiences, we might give up. And I say, no, if you long for a connection, get back in the ring and just maybe put yourself on a platform to date, but you don't have to. Just go to places where men or women, whatever you prefer, are, and just be available. That's it. I just, I'm going in a group which does mountain hiking. I know I'm going to meet people. I know that I could meet a possible, who knows, partner. So it's about that for sure, making ourselves available, because we were hurt with people, we heal with people. I heard this, by the way, this from Krishna and Amana, and it resonated so much with me, that it's good to look inside, but it's for sure, and it helps and it can heal, but we heal so much faster, and so much more can happen when we are connected with people. So that's one thing. And then this one is going to be triggered for sure. Like, people will come into our lives to show us what is it that we don't see yet. What is it? And usually the way that we are triggered is this, that people are moving away from us, because that's what we invite, when we are chasing them, or when we hurry into sealing the deal, or when we compromise. Also, when we compromise, people cannot respect us and then they pull away. So we sabotage ourselves. So then that's what happens. So they will pull away. And that is the moment where we usually start chasing, we start going after them. And or ruminating, like, oh, he shouldn't do this, because we are already quite in, so why does he do that? Or complaining to our girlfriends and so on. So instead of doing all that, is really dropping all the actions, all the thinking, all the plans to get him back, or to get the attention back, and that is a golden moment. That is a moment where we need to go in. So we went out, we stirred up the waters, and then we stop. We don't go after that person. We just stay with them. What is stirred up inside of us? We drop into the wound. That's what happens, because the wound is reactivated, and we feel not so much the pain of the present. We feel very much the pain of that little girl. The same, the panic and the loneliness. These are the two things. It's the fear, the panic, and the loneliness, the pain of being alone. And that is not easy, but I'm so happy you are from Osho world, and we have active meditations, and anything that helps us be in a meditation but also close to our body is the best, because all we need to do is to move these emotions, basically, just to give them the space to move. So Nataraj, Osho Kundalini meditations, they are great. Osho Dynamic, they are the best. And we just watch, like, we watch the emotions moving through us. And sometimes memories come back. Sometimes when we really drop into the wound, memories can come back of when we were not, when we were left, when we were originally wounded, basically. But this happens only for a while. At some point, no memory comes. A lot of the abandonment happened in the first months when we don't have memories, but it's a felt sense. That's why we cannot think this through. We need to feel it. It's a felt sense of loneliness. It's a felt sense of anxiety, of fear. And when I didn't have meditation, I would just simply allow myself to collapse, like to really kneel down and drop my shoulders or lay down and curl myself into a ball and just hold myself. Just really hold myself like, sweetheart, I know it's hard. I really know it's hard and you feel lonely right now, and I'm here. So I'm just, we give ourselves all the support that we can. And for those of us who work with the little girl inside or the little boy, is really to hold that little girl. Sometimes I would lie down in the bed and I would take a pillow and I would just hold it in those moments. And I would just hold my little girl and say, I'm so sorry you're going through this. And I'm so sorry you went through this as a child. I'm really, really sorry. And I'm here. And then slowly, things are moving. Things are really moving, because that's how emotions are. That's how emotions are. And this is why I love this work, actually. At the end of it, we are not the same person. We are transformed by this experience. Because the big wound inside is not what happened to us. It's really the belief that we need someone else to be complete, to be whole, to be happy. And I have to say, I listened to Osho so many times talking about this. And until it was my experience, I didn't really get it. That's the truth. I had to feel it in my body that going through the separation from somebody, I found my own completeness and my own wholeness. That was, for me, that was my way to finding my wholeness. And I lost track of what I wanted to say. Yes, so because as far as I understand, we are still in a trance. So when we are babies and we come into this world, we think we are one unit with our mother, and we are still living that trance now. We think we need another person. But in our bellies, in our mama's bellies, we felt whole. We were whole. We didn't, it's just an illusion. We kind of projected on her that the love we felt inside was coming from her, but it was us. So it's just coming out of a dream, basically. And then the beauty of this is that once I feel this wholeness, this completeness, then I can really allow myself, well, first of all, I can really allow the other person to be. Well, you want to go away, you go away. It's okay. I don't need you. I like you. I might even love you, but I don't need you. I'm fine on my own. And then the other thing is, I allow myself to be myself, because I'm not so scared that I'm going to lose him or her. So then I can say, no, I'm not going to come with you for the cigarette. Sorry, it's too cold for me. Or I'm going to dress whatever I want. You might have a different style. I don't care. This is me. So, and the funny thing is, or the paradoxical thing is, this is so sexy. That's a side effect. It's not the main, it's not the goal. But it is a side effect. Whenever we don't give, you know, how it says, how it goes, when we don't care, then it's so sexy, actually. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it with the abandonment.